Hello, hello, hello. And today I will be showing you a short tutorial on how to do an infused gold material. So basically you have stone and in there you have like small pieces of gold. You can also apply this to like any kind of material you want in that stone or replace the infused part with any material you need, for example marble or something. But yeah, let's get started in this. First of all, we will do the stone texture, because that's the easiest one. Okay, so let's just take a Musgrave texture, put this here. Again, we will need a lot of space, so be prepared to move things around a lot. Control T to bring up the mapping node, delete this, object into vector, and then bring it outwards a bit, and then Control Shift to preview. We want a scale of around 7. We want a max detail, obviously. We want dimensions of 0.5. And we want, and this stays at 2. Now we need a noise texture. So let's just bring it up. So let's just search a noise texture. Bring this up here again. Object into vector. Shift, Control Shift to preview it. Scale to 10. Detail to 15. Roughness to 0.7, and dimensions, the distortion to 0.203. Okay, now wanna again take another noise texture, but this time we want a different noise texture first. So let's just duplicate this one, bring this down here again, object into vector, and here we want a scale of around 6. We want a roughness of 0.3. Again, we can preview it, sorry. 0.3, and the distortion stays. Now we want a color ramp. So let's just Shift A, bring in a color ramp, and plug this into here. We just go, but I want to bring this to around, together to around like something like here. I feel like works well. And then we will select these two, and then just press Ctrl 0 to bring up the automatic mixing node, and we will change this mix to darken and make this to 100, or to 1 rather. Now we want to select this color ramp up here, and this down here. Not color ramp, this noise factor up here, and this mix node down here. Again, Control 0 to bring this up. Change this to lighten this time, and a faculty of 0.3, and change up the order so this is bottom and this is top. Maybe 0.35 probably is better. Yeah, something around these. Something around this. Again, because we need space, select all, box select all, move it back a bit, because we definitely need the space. Now we make a color ramp for our base texture. So let's just bring up a color ramp again, place this here, and now you're just gonna make a pretty stone color set. You can use mine if you want. Honestly, I don't think mine is that great that I'm gonna use for this. It's a very basic set, I feel like, but it should work fairly well. And then one more here, which will go a bit more red. The important part is, like, I feel that you have a lot of variation in this, and not like too much subtle differences between the colors. So for example, I probably will do this a tad bit darker, something around these lines. Then just bring this into the base color and preview it. For now, this looks pretty blank. Roughness should be on should be on 0.7. For now, this looks pretty blank, but we can change this with our lovely bump map. So let's just bring a bump map, bring this into here, and then normal into normal, bring this down here, and now we want to take this and into the height. This obviously is way too much, so let's just bring this down to a 0.4, maybe a 0.5 probably. Let's bring it to 0.5. I like 0.5. You can choose less or more, however rough you want your stone to be. Now, we have our basic stone setup. Now we will multiply our basically our gold into there. For that, we will need a Voronoi texture. So let's bring in a Voronoi texture, put this here. We need way more space, so let's bring this up to here. Preview it again, and change this to distance to edge, and the scale to around, I like a 3.5 for this. You can probably make it smaller or bigger depending on how small or big you want your goal to be, but I like this. Now, again, vector into object, and now we want to distort these. So what we'll do is we will duplicate this noise texture and thus drop this into the vector. Well, it doesn't want to go into the vector. Now it wants to. And we will just bring the scale down to a 3. Detail stays, roughness goes down to 0.6, and distortion goes fully down to 0. And now this looks like small pieces, like small parts of an ore, which we can use, but you can see there is way too much like just clutter into it. So we're just gonna bring up a color ramp, put this here, and thus move this around about here where we like it. I probably would put it around here because we will use an invert node here. We want this white, so you can see the whites are really much bigger, so I probably want this to be around like here. Like I said, like this is up to you how much you want this, how big you want this to be, but I personally like it something around here. Then we need, again, who would have guessed, a noise texture, so let's just duplicate this one, bring this up to here, scale to 5, details max, roughness to 0.55, I feel like worked well, and distortion stays the same. Duplicate the color ramp, put it here, faculty into faculty, and preview it. We of course don't want this, we want something more like close to this, because this will be one of the masks we will use to cancel out this part we just did, because we don't want gold overall, we just want gold on small pieces, so we're gonna create a mask for us to basically darken parts of this noise map. Okay, so this is our first mask. We can probably make this a bit smaller, something like this. I feel like probably is not bad. So yeah, but this obviously still, if we're gonna preview this, so let's just finish this one up. So let's just mix it, change this to darken and 50 to 1. You can see this, for most people, would still be too much gold. For me, in this sense, it's too much gold, so what we will do is we will get another mask on top of this. So basically just bring up a Musgrave texture, put this here, put the vector again into the object, and then change the scale to 3.6. Detail again, we are maxing that, we can preview it as well. Dimensions down to 0.5, and this down to also 1.5. And now we can, like we did before, just multiply this into this. So just select the two, Control 0, change mix to darken, and then brings completely up. Now this is immediately better. Like it's way smaller, but I think it's still a bit too much. So what we can do is we can just bring this one up to a point where we are happy with it. I feel like this, something like this will work well. Like I said, this is now completely up to you how you like how much gold you want. So you can you can play around with this, or you also use a color ramp and play around with this. But personally, I found that this as a control object works enough. Oh, I forgot to bring this into this. Okay, yeah. But yeah, like I found that this personally works as a controller, so you don't necessarily need a color ramp in here. But if you want more control, you can also put a color ramp down here and do the same, like you did up there. Now for our issue, we need to multiply the gold into our base color. How do we do this? We duplicate the color ramp, reset the color ramp, and then make a gold texture. So something like, I don't know, feel like this probably would work well. Something, oh, something like this. Something like this. And then select these two. Control 0 again. It is now mixed. We can preview it. This is not how we want it to be. Mix is fine. Change these two around. And now into the faculty, we will bring this darker node and just put this here. And now you can see these parts is where your gold will be. So if you preview this, yeah, now it just looks like colory rock, which is not what we want. So how do we change this? We use this darken and drag this into the metallic. Still does not do what we want. Why? Because we have our roughness set to 0.7 for the general thing. So what we need to do is we need a new color ramp. So just get a color ramp here, plug this into the roughness. And basically what we now need to do is we need to, again, take this darken and put this into the faculty. And what we can now do is we can basically make this like very light, something around like this, and then make this a bit darker. So probably like how shiny you want your gold to be. I like something like this. And now you have your gold parts are very shiny and metally, and the rock parts are not at all shiny and very rocky. So yeah, but still something is missing, right? Like these are just laying on top of the stone and it doesn't look very cool. So how do we solve this? Duplicate the bump node, and you know that we'll get the darken we built up here and just plug it into the height. And now we can even change it, take a change of 1 and then just invert it, and you are finished. This is your procedural gold infused whatever material. You can change this down part here however you want. Like if you want marble down here, if you want wood for whatever reason, like just delete this part down here and just keep the top part, and you can do with this whatever you want. It will look probably pretty damn cool. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.